So today we're looking at sacred spaces, and behind me, starting with the ancient church of Our Lady of Steenbergen, set on the spot where apparently in the Middle Ages a miraculous image of the Blessed Virgin was discovered hanging in a tree. The chapel itself is more recent, it's from the 18th century, and they celebrate the ancient quarter days here in early February, May, August and November, and they have a rather beautiful service also on Christmas Eve for midnight mass. And below the chapel there's an ancient spring, the Lover's Spring. It's said that people who drink its water will be lucky in love, though I think that's not the only reason people come here. People seem to very much enjoy the crisp freshness of the water that comes from it. Yeah, I know, major continuity blunder, different church due to being filmed on a different day. This is the chapel of St. Teresa. Let's go and have a closer look. So this is a strange little jewel of 1930s architecture, built by the architect Paul Stevens from a well-known Leuven architectural family. Most of his stuff is pretty bourgeois and kind of mock baroque, but this is something quite special. It was built on the site of an earlier wooden chapel, both of them associated with the miraculous healings of various local children. So if I just take a final shot from here, you can see that the chapel has got this nice little hedge of fruit trees in front of it. Just setting it off from the main road which goes right past here. All very Belgian, I suppose, is the word I'm looking for. So here's another holy place in the woods, the Chapel of St. Mary Magdalene in the village of Valbeek, which is the next village to us if you go in a sort of southeasterly direction. The chapel itself, the building dates from the 16th century, but it's known that there's been a chapel on this spot since at least the 13th century. And I think with a lot of holy places it goes back further than that. The forest is absolutely full of tumuli, which are ancient burial mounds containing the last remains of the local bigwigs of times past, names and stories now long forgotten. This behind me is the biggest one, the Monarchengraf, the monarch's grave, and it's right beside a smaller one which has got a ring-shaped ditch around it, which unfortunately doesn't really come through in the video, so you'll just have to take my word for it. Now they're completely surrounded by the woods and not really visible except if you come right up close to them. I think that originally the forest would not have been here, and there would have been a very good view from here down to the valley below, and more importantly, people passing by in the valley below would have been able to look up and see the tombs of the people who'd once lived here. Discontinuity t-shirt time again. There are a lot of tumuli in the woods, and most of them are thought to be of prehistoric date. The one that's immediately behind me, however, is the only one in our section of the forest anyway that's thought to be from Gallo-Roman times, in other words from the historical period. So, you know, the person who was buried here would have been able to read and write, and would probably have thought that their tomb would be noticed and remembered for quite a long time to come. As it is, of course, the forest was planted on top of it, and all we know is that somebody lived and somebody died. This little chapel is dedicated to St. Anne, the mother of the Blessed Virgin, and therefore grandmother of Jesus Christ. If you come here, walk around it 3 times performing the appropriate rituals, you will be cured of toothache, apparently. Fortunately, we also have dentists.